Welcome to a new Harry's Garage, and as you can see, we're not at home, we're in Perugia, where I'm at the start of a Lamborghini organised celebratory tour for Espada and Zero owners. And having an Espada where it seemed rude not to come along, really looking forward to the next few days. Fortunately, we had a day yesterday when I collected the car from the factory yesterday, and things didn't go according to plan from the start. We had an ignition problem. Suddenly went to the first petrol station, car wouldn't start. We're about 1 mile from the Lamborghini factory. We've had a nice new shiny key barrel fitted. The reason I fitted the new key barrel is every now and then the electrics would just go off, and I was told that it was in the connections in the key barrel. Lamborghini very kindly fitted the new key barrel, and I have no power at all. It's not very good start at all. Traced that back after checking everything that it was just a loose battery connection, so that was fairly easy to fix. And then the car started to overheat. It doesn't normally overheat, but the temperature gauge was going up, and we had to stop and put coolant in. And then I found out that the caps were the wrong way round on the header tank and the radiator, and it was, oh dear, and it was about 5 litres of water to do the 180 miles between the factory and here. So it all not good, not a good start of the call. But it seems to have calmed down just on the way into here. It was better. So I'm hoping that we're going to get round the tour. It's 4 or 5 days, is a beautiful route round Tuscany today, and then another one. We end up doing the Futa Pass, we end up in Bologna, and we end up at the factory and do a tour of the museum. Anyway, you'll come along. Day one is, I think, a drive, as I say, in Tuscany. Looking forward to it. Time for a bit of breakfast, but just wonderful to see all these cars here. There's about 16 cars here, mainly Espada, but just dropping down the line, the Series 1, 2 and 3, and the Zero, and all the glorious colours that Lamborghini seem to put on their cars back in the 60s and 70s. See you later. We're making our way down to Orvieto in this crazy convoy. It's a bit like the Millimeter because we've got a couple of bike outriders. There goes one just now, off to the next turn. I've got an Aventador behind, a wonderful khaki green matte paintwork, gold wheels, and I'm following a Zero. I just thought, to fill you in on some of the things I've done with the Espada, I've had a few tweaks made since owning it. And one of the tweaks is very useful on a tool like this. I've had power steering put on it. Power steering on Espadas is generally not until you get to Series 3. I prefer the look of the Series 2 with the Miura wheels and the earlier look. But so I got a company called Easy Steering, Power Steering. They do electric power conversion, power steering conversions on all sorts of cars. They did it on my Countach, and now I've had it on the Espada. Really neat unit. It fits up just above your shins, just above the pedals on the steering column. You don't really know it's there, but it just transforms how you use the car. Suddenly it goes light. It's speed sensitive. They take the drive off the speedo, so the power system disappears as you build up speed. But at parking speeds, it's really light and easy, and it just makes it easier to live with a car like this. So that was, I think that's about a £4,000 option, something like that, to get it converted. But I think you always get your money back when you come to sell the car, because no one's going to say, oh, I don't want it because it's got power steering, and there's a switch. And then the other thing I had done, I had the air conditioning fixed, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Who's going to have a compressor for an Espada? But it turns out, in the date of this car was built 1970, there was only about 2 compressors on the market for cars, so it's very easy to get fixed. And the compressor was about £270, another couple of £100 to have it fitted and to have it all redone. And hey presto, we have wonderful air conditioning in this Espada. And it was one of those things, when I was looking at them, there's a lot of cars that are really nice, a 275 GTB Ferrari, or a Ferrari Lusso, our old 330. They never never had air conditioning, and when you go and use them in Italy in the middle of the summer, you really miss it because they're like greenhouses. But that's one of the things that attracted me to the Espada in the first place, because air conditioning was standard. So they're the sort of mods I've done. Other than that, it's just had a little bit of fettling and paint and things like that. It's been busy doing events. I sort of use it as a, well, I use a car, blast it down always to Goodwood Revival and Festival and things. I was at Goodwood, it was actually on the Cartier lawn, and one of my highlights was actually showing Sir Norman Foster the car. He was looking over it and really quite impressed with the design, and being a design guru, he was being very polite. I really do think he liked it, but you never know. Anyway, we're on Convoy, on our way to Orvieto, to see what highlights we're going to see on the way. We've come to a stop. It's like it's out of fuel. Now I can hear the fuel pump. I think that was very odd. But old cars for you. But it felt like the fuel pump had just packed up. That is so odd. Yeah, everything's back to normal when you pull over and you think you've broken down. I'm going to add some water though because we're a bit low on temperature. Not a lovely place to stop, but it's out of the way. I don't know, it's going to be quite a trip this, I sense. We're only about a few hours into the first coffee stop. We haven't even got to the first coffee stop. I'm going to add some water though. Well, I've checked everything. I've put another couple of litres in the water tank. And turn the ignition on, fuel pumps are going fine, so all very strange. Anyway, we're going to catch up with the rest of the group, so we better get a bit of hurry on. It's another stop while we wait for the Espada to cool down. Getting a bit boring now. We've put 4 litres in. There's another 2 litres. I thought we'd get to the lunch stop, but we've got another 20 kilometres to go. But at least it's a known problem. I just have to wait for everything to cool down, and then you can add the water. I have to take. No, it's too hot. It's sort of a time to take up smoking, but I'm not going to. But this is what I should be doing. If I was a true Italian, I should be just having a cigarette and letting everything cool down. What a game. Well, it's been quite a day today. We've been in Convoy with the rescue crew. We've gone up from normal standard. We're now under observation because of this water issue, so I have an Audi in front and I have a green Huracan behind. But we're in Tuscany now, and having spent a day and a bit in Umbria, now in Tuscany, this is an area of, well, it's the Val d'Orcia. It's an area we know quite well. We used to have a house here, we used to come here with Evo. And the roads are much better surface over here. I was a bit shocked how bad the roads have got in Umbria, but whether they've got a bigger budget or something. But in Tuscany, you're in sports cars as you tend to be in this area. Well, roads are definitely better in Tuscany than Umbria. But I think the scenery is better. There's this more open look, and just the pointy trees, as we used to call them. It's fantastic scenery. You have to come south of Siena. People think that Tuscany is Florence and San Gimignano and Pisa, where the really picturesque Tuscany is south of Siena, Buonacovento, and it's known as the Val d'Orcia, and it's a big area, and you get this Creta, and you get the cypress trees, the typical look of Tuscany, and it's a real favourite area of ours coming down. I just wish the Espada was behaving a little bit better, but it's still great fun just being in this big group of very rare Lamborghinis these days. To see this many Zeros and Series 1, 2 and 3 Espadas. I have been them in Convoy and swapping stories of them. Suddenly in the Espada, I think it's just a glorious design, and just following them just reinforces it, and how they go down the road. Smaller than you think, but made by the engine. So yeah, we are pouring rather a lot of water out of the car. It's using more water. I'm sure it's a head gasket, which is no great problem. It's just one of those things. I haven't really had to touch this car in 6 years, and I've done 10,000-12,000 miles, so it's with the territory. It's something to do over the winter. And when we're going to get to our final stop tonight, and I thought I'd just give you a tour around. There's one of our outrider motorbikes that blast past every now and then, because they stop the traffic at roundabouts and things. Very, very handy. There he goes. Yeah, when we get back to base, I'm just going to give you a quick tour around Series 1, 2 and 3 Espadas, so you can just see what the differences are between the models. In the meantime, I'm going to carry on enjoying the last of the Tuscan sun as we make our way to our final stop tonight. There are motorbike mates. Over there. A little look. It's a bit smoky, this Series 2 Espada, but it's a very special one. This is the VIP one. They're not sure if they made 10 or 12 of them in period, with an amazing interior that I'll show you, but the engine breather goes into the right hand bank air cleaner, so you quite often see Espadas or Lamborghinis in this period, they always smoke a little bit more on the right than the left, but this one seems to have a little bit too much than normal. There you go. Morning, this is day 3 of the Espada Zero tour. We're somewhere in the hills just north of Siena. We're off to the Futa Pass and Bologna today. But yeah, the convoy out from the hotel in the mornings is quite something. It's all these cold cars sort of warm up, and there's quite a few smoking from the exhaust cars ahead, and you can almost tell the route through the woods by just following the whiff of burning oil and sort of exhaust fumes. This car is my Espada is, as I say, under watch, under observation, I think they termed it. We're using quite a lot of water, and we have this random fuel pump that decides to pack up for no good reasons. So yeah, I'll be very grateful when we get to Bologna tonight, and we're almost there. We're almost home, back at the factory. But for the moment, we're just going to enjoy the early morning sun, Tuscan sun rising in a convoy of smoking Espadas. Just so you know, this one in front of us is a Series 1. There's another one of our motorbike outriders just about to overtake. They have a very peculiar grille on the back vertical window, and it's a metal grille, and it means you can't actually clean the window at all. Most owners took them off. The owner in front has been quite clever, because it looks like it's got the grille on, but actually it's just insulation tape to make it look like it's got the grille on, so he can clean his window. Swiss car, super rare, Series 1, about 160 made. Yeah, one other thing about last night, we arrived back at the hotel very late, and I had hoped to give you a tour around, which way are we going? Down there. A tour around Series 1, 2 and 3 Espada, but we got back to the hotel and it was almost dark, so I couldn't. So we'll try that and do that tonight. Meanwhile, we'll just carry on enjoying the scenery. right-hand drive car, so pretty rare. And in yellow, it left the factory in yellow, and a very healthy engine. Engine's just been rebuilt on it. So this one doesn't smoke, unlike the Espada S2 VIP in front that's come from Norway. Yeah, it's quite easy to follow that car. You can just see where it's been. But yeah, not so with this Zero S. We have an addition to our convoy. He's taking no prisoners. Whoa! And he beats us all. The rotter. Quite fun. We've all pulled into a petrol station, and there are now 19 Lamborghinis trying to fill up, and a few press cars. We look round. All good fun. I know this Christmas has come early for this guy who owns this petrol station. Hi. Well, yeah, things aren't going too well. We're in a bit of a convoy and we're having this weird fuel thing. We're limping up the hill. I'm just going to find somewhere to pull over because temperature's climbing and we have a fuel pump issue. And we're very close to lunch stop, but I don't think we're going to make it on this occasion, so I'm going to find a tree to hide underneath. And I think we found one here. Yeah, this is a nice place to pull over. I don't know. I'm determined to get this car round the tour, but yeah, it is playing up. I'll let it calm down a bit. Where are we? Just so you can hear. Yeah, that is a sound of a car boiling over. So we must be out of water or something. So mechanics are all behind me. We'll just stop and yeah, it's time for a little inspection. Yeah, you can.
It's very rich. And then also looks the timing, the engine has too much advance.
Right.
Tanto mai mescolare, possiamo anche da rossa, tanto mezzo solo acqua. Non si mescola.
Andiamo, non ti preoccupare, butta acqua quando. E non abbiamo più acqua, no?
No, abbiamo qua un'altra tanica di 5 litri.
So we're now on the Futa Pass, chasing an Aventador and a Huracan Performante. So I think I'm the slower of the three cars. I really want to try and get up the Futa Pass, but with this temperature, yeah, we're already sitting at 100 degrees. It's about 34 degrees outside, which isn't helping. It's not really where you want to be in a car that has got a head gasket gone, but I feel if you can get a Rolls Royce to the Arctic, you should be able to get an Espada to Bologna. But I sense this won't be the quickest and most exciting trip over the Futa Pass. Great thing about coming in September, like now, middle of September, is it's pretty empty up here. It's empty up until October, and midweek it's free of bikes, and it's a top tip. Don't try and do this road at weekend because it gets absolutely rammed and everybody's frustrated. So come midweek and you'll have the most amazing adventure. As they are up ahead. It's a great view out the front. This is the tough bit of the Futa Pass. There's a sudden bit you get to and there are all these really sharp bends. It's like an alpine pass, really sharp corners and steep. I'm trying to keep the momentum going. I'm in second. I'm looking at the temperature gauge, it's over 100. But I know it does ease off very soon after this. Just got to get to the top. So yeah, you can see the temperature gauge just over 100. We have the heating full on. I've got it on max fan speed. I haven't actually got it on medium. We have it on max now. If you've got an old car, it's a sort of classic. A top tip is you use the heater in the car as an additional radiator, and that just might help you out in a scrape like this when you find yourself in the Futa Pass at 34-35 degrees in a 50-year-old car. think we're just about to go onto the downhill section. Oh, we're coming to a stop again. Please don't stop. I think we're going to make this. Because the temperature is, if anything, just starting to drop again. Running, and this is the top. This is oh, we're going to make it. We now have a fuel pump issue. Please don't stop. Don't stop. Right, that's just gone past the cafe at the top of Ratikowska Pass. We're now going down. That is the top. It's a great meeting place. All sorts of people stop up there, all the bike guys, etc. And it's all where you sort of meet the development cars as well. If anybody's out here in a development car, that's where you'll stop for a coffee. Oh, it's such a relief to get up to the top and actually make it. It's downhill now all the way to Bologna. So whatever happens now, we're going to get to Bologna, and I am so chuffed to be able to get that over and done with in this sort of heat. Beautiful day for it. It's still a good surface. Of all the roads we've driven on in Italy, it's good to see that this pass is still in pretty good nick. Quite a lot of the roads suffer from subsidence through Tuscany and Umbria, but this, yeah, Futa Pass, Ratikowska Pass look really good still. Well, we arrived at our evening stop, this beautiful place up here and where we're all meant to park. Fortunately, when we arrived here, the gates were closed and it was the final straw for the car. You can see a sort of water trail just up to the gates, and I hoped the gates were going to open for me, but they didn't. So we have to stop here. But we've done everything. We are here, so I'll just leave it here for 20 minutes, half an hour, let it cool down. Very quick walk through these Espadas. Here is Series 2, beautiful colour. So I apologise, this is a Series 1, which you can tell from that crazy dash with all the hexagon dashboard with the different instruments. Manual as well. There's my car, as you know. There's Aero there. Here is a Series 3, which you can tell from the front grille on this one, that sort of square grille, and then it's got the fly on the wheels, hasn't got the knock-on wheels, it's got those bolted wheels like that. This one is really rare. I love this one. This is a VIP car with this crazy interior, one of 12 built. No one else knows of another one in existence, but what an interior and what a colour, original orange colour. More Series 3, very famous. Love the owner of this one. She's had it since new, used to do the school run on it. UK car, beautifully restored a few years ago. Finally, this one is from France, a Series 3, and then we go down here. There's another Series 1, and this is about the earliest car we think here, car number 42, and you can tell because it's got the opening quarter lights, and then again with the crazy interior. Right, I better get back because I'm going to be in trouble. Or just show you the dash of a Series 3, completely different, as you see, wrapped round, completely different to the Series 1 and 2. Also love the colour of this one, this sort of turquoise metallic. And then the brown one. That's unusual, not seen that before, a black dash on a Series 3 instead of the aluminium, very nice. Guy's owned this forever and knows Espada backwards. Very useful source of information and a very well used car. It's driving back to Paris tonight. Well, there we go, at the end of the tour. Quite a journey all around Italy, Tuscany, Umbria, now at the factory, and just great to be able to see the production line and see all these cars lined up here. This is the final group photograph. They've just done it up there. We've all sort of gathered, and it's great to see them all lined up on the show here. And some of the things I've learnt on this tour, well, one, The Espada was built in quite big numbers, 1,227 cars, I believe, over its total production. It came out in 68, went on to 78. The Series 2 is the most popular model of all. There's about 550 of those. Series 1, the rarest, and that's about 130 built. But today, out of that 1,227 cars, it's expected around 560 cars survive today. And of those, about half are actually running, so around 250, 270 cars. And that means you're more likely to see a Miura run around than you are an Espada. I never realised that before this trip. There's 700 and some Miuras built. Most of them still exist today. That's because they were treasured from the beginning, and the Espada, and in certain cases these were usable cars. So they basically self-destructed because everybody used them for 12 months of the year, and then they got broken for parts, etc. So the Espada actually in running condition is way rarer, about twice as likely to see a Miura as you are an Espada. Couldn't believe that. Anyway, it's been a great tour of a great group of guys as well. I think they attract some really interesting owners, the Espada, and just to get to know the vehicles and get swap stories. I hope you've enjoyed the journey as well. Didn't quite go according to plan, as you probably picked up, but we got to the end. If we can get a Rolls Royce to the Arctic or a Testarossa to Sahara, then I can get an Espada that has a heating issue to Bologna. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching. Keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.